Hello again, everyone. Welcome into the WECT Digital Studio. I'm John Evans, along with Gabe Ross of the First Alert Weather Team. Wanted to bring you kind of an extended look at the potential for some gusty storms coming into southeastern North Carolina tomorrow. The reason why our First Alert Weather Team has marked it with a First Alert Weather Day. And Gabe, you're looking at this because we're having the possibility of winds that are above tropical storm force here. So good-sized winds coming in with the storms.
Yeah, a number of elements that we look at anytime we declare, some kind of First Alert Weather Day. I think first and foremost, this is going to be a disruptive kind of day, regardless of any severe threat we have to deal with. The kind of thing, as we were talking internally, that like your trash can could wind up down the road. These winds are going to be on the strong side. Anything loose you got outside, it's just a good idea to stow that. Then in addition to that, we have the risk of what could be severe rated storms. Now, the National Weather Service already jumping out ahead of this a little bit, and as you can see, a wind advisory in effect for all of southeastern North Carolina. It includes our 5-county WECT viewing area proper, some of the outskirts communities on our TV signal, including Robeson, Cumberland, Sampson, Duplin, Onslow County, and across the border in Horry as well. So we'll be dealing with some winds that could pack a little bit of a punch, and I say that as an understatement. They could be gusting well up to 40, even 50 miles per hour, and that's outside of this main line of storms. So that'd be the big thing that we really have to pay close attention to heading into tomorrow. This is the latest outlook here from the Storm Prediction Center in Norman, Oklahoma. So you can see it's an enhanced risk, or a level 3 out of 5. And these are just some of the threats that we're dealing with, most notably damaging straight line winds. As this comes in what we call a squall line, likely this time frame around midday through mid to late afternoon, could produce some 60, 70 mile per hour wind gusts. So I think at this point internally, there's thinking at least a decent amount of severe thunderstorm potential, but you notice on here as well, a marginal risk for a couple of rotating cells. So can't completely rule it out, mind you. But there is, it's lower compared to the straight line wind threat. That said, some large hail a possibility as well. Notice your flooding threat, very low, considering how dry it's been lately. We'll welcome any bit of rain we can get, but in these kind of situations, with it being dry and windy, some of that loose debris could get near storm drains, and we could be talking a little poor drainage flooding in some of these respects. So very important elements to keep track of as we track this line. Again, it's a very brief window here. We're talking maybe 4, 5, 6 hours or so at the latest. And here's that system taking shape off to the southwest. In yellow there are National Weather Service issued tornado watches. So you see they include a big chunk of Mississippi and eastern Louisiana. Crazy because they're going through Mardi Gras celebrations there, with Fat Tuesday and everything being today. So this is going to roll through there the next few hours, and through the course of the evening, overnight, start to trek toward the Carolinas. For us here locally, we've just got a couple of coastal showers, so I'll bring you in a little closer and we'll flip on the Doppler sweep so we can take that in. Really just eastern Pender County, right along the coastline, Hampstead at the worst up to Surf City. You see some of the clouds kind of on the
Surf
darker
City
side.
Right there.
Yep.
So you see some of those gray clouds. I was going to ask you, before you put the Doppler up, are these clouds that we're seeing now related to that storm system? And we still got hundreds of miles between the two, right?
Yeah, exactly. Hundreds of miles. So these have nothing to do with that system that's coming through tomorrow. That said, a few prefrontal showers, a possibility. And there is a big caveat that we'll have to watch for tomorrow, and that's actually the marine layer. So I'm glad you bring this up. The marine layer has a tendency to stabilize the atmosphere. So that could squash the threat of severe rated storms. That said, outside of this, it's still going to be a blustery day.
Right.
So if you're gauging this on the sense of, do we have a severe thunderstorm warning issued or tornado warning issue? Obviously, we don't hope for those kind of things. But that would be one of the elements that could be a difference maker that we have to watch for. I think just going to be a bumpy day, like I said, in general. So let's go forward here now with modeling. This is what everyone wants to see. What's the timing of this? Well, here's 8 o'clock in the morning, likely on the dry side, still plenty of southerly and eventually southwesterly winds as this front pushes in, but it's going to be blustery, even in the morning. If you're driving a higher profile vehicle, you might notice that it's kind of hard driving around, holding, control of that vehicle. Yeah. Now let's step you forward from here, and let's get you all the way through 9, 10, 11, 12 o'clock or so. Our in-house model paints this primary line somewhere in the vicinity of I-95. Now, give or take a little bit here. This is a guidance look that we're taking. This could move through quicker, could move through a little slower, but one thing that's been pretty consistent here is the timing. So around lunchtime, and now we'll take you forward another couple of hours. Okay, now this is progressing past Highway 701 into portions of eastern Columbus County, a good chunk of Brunswick County, New Hanover. Pretty much all of us are involved in this in some case. You see some of those threat levels I have here. They're based primarily on Wilmington, but you can see the spikes in variation here with large hail, damaging winds, and even poor drainage, flooding potential. And even around, I'd say maybe 2, 3 o'clock, there might be a little bit of a rotating storm threat that we have to watch for as well.
And the one thing there, what you just showed at about 2 o'clock, that's the time schools would be letting out. We do know Bladen County tomorrow has canceled classes for tomorrow.
Okay.
So, right around the time school might be letting out, when some of those storms come out. So you see maybe some of their reasoning, and that's the only one we have right now.
Yeah.
But we do know that they've taken those steps just in case things are really bad and for the buses on the roads tomorrow.
Sure, and you think about the fact they're higher profile vehicles.
Yep.
So that's one of the concerns with the wind advisory, and again, outside of anything severe, which, that timeline you just saw there, that's one of those considerations that they have to take. Again, that's the district's decision, so not going to argue with any of that, but this is just certainly what we'll be likely to be tangling with at some point during the day. So it's easier for them to go ahead and cancel classes. Yeah. Here's 4 o'clock now, so we're past the worst of this. So likely by the time we're coming to you tomorrow for first at 4, this system likely one and done. So some back end winds to deal with, yes. Some ponding on the roads, perhaps in spots where there's poor drainage, but any active stuff likely going to be wrapping up around that time. And then 5, 6, 7, notice inland zones by then, sky's actually starting to clear out a little bit. So it'll mean a more settled end to the week, but it really is that primary front that we're going to have to work the way through there.
Well, again, one of the things that you said that's a good thing for folks to do would be, if the front welcome mat on your porch has a tendency to slide a little bit on a breezy day, pull that inside. Yeah. If you got some furniture on the back porch or something like that, you don't want it ending up in the neighbor's backyard and your garbage cans as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just for anecdotal purposes, my wife has a planter outside. I'm going to say before the end of the night, hey, let's go ahead and just pull that stuff inside and make sure that doesn't, wind up over the fence or over the berm or whatever. But there are lots of things to, have for key takeaways in that. One, it's just going to be windy in general for tomorrow. So, and we're also likely to deal with a healthy round of showers and storms. There's that time frame at the earliest. We're talking maybe mid-morning through about mid to late afternoon. Isolated severe storms, possible, but it's a straight line wind concern primarily. And you'll hear us, say we can't rule out the threat of a rotating storm along that squall line. But it's more likely we're going to have to deal with the straight line wind threat than we will the rotating storm threat. So that's why it's
still
important.
Powerful.
It's still very,
damage.
very powerful. We've seen straight line winds do more damage than tornadic storms. So winds are winds, and they can pack a punch, whether they're rotating or whether they're barreling at you straight line. So that's why we want to let you know about that. 40 plus mile per hour wind gusts, even up to 50 in some cases, could go higher than that. We're just going to have to watch. I bet we're going to see some astounding wind reports tomorrow, so we'll watch it very closely. And of course, NWS Bulletin's already out with a wind advisory, but your WECT First Alert weather app's got you covered. So we want you to make sure to stick with us and just be weather aware tomorrow. That's part of the reason why the First Alert weather day is in play for us overall. Here's a better idea of that timeline that we could have to deal with. In addition to the land stuff, John, seas are going to be a concern. So we've already got a high surf advisory out. We're going to have a gale warning out for tomorrow starting at about 7 o'clock in the morning. So even offshore, it's going to be a mess to deal with. Yeah, definitely something to deal with. But the severe threshold will be a little more limited. But a gusty day, equipped with some heavy showers at times, and just overall not fantastic conditions to be on the water. So let's put a bow on this here with the planning forecast, because that really is the only major concern we have here over the course of the next 7 to 10 days. Another opportunity for showers, we'll say later into the weekend. It's spring forward weekend too. Hard to believe we're at that point here. But your first alert weather day tags writing there. And then a cool down on the back end of the front, 50s for high Thursday, back into the 60s, then 70s, and then another climb, 50s, 60s, 70. You know, it's the time for it. It's spring. Yeah. We're starting to get into the warmer, months here. And so gradually we'll see those temperature swings. And I think more so here too, as we actually approach the first day of astronomical spring.
And one of the things, again, Gabe mentioned, it's always good to have the WECT weather app on your smart device, whether it's an iPad, whether it's a Chromebook, whether it's the regular smartphone, and get it. One of the things for National Severe Weather Preparedness Week that you did yesterday was talk about downloading the app and setting the notifications to get all those things. That's on our website right now. You can go and see all the reports all week long. But it's good to have that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it really is. And especially if you're on the go, God knows most of us are not going to be sitting at home just doing nothing for the day. Some of you are, more power to you, but others are work, school, wherever their plans happen to take them for the day. And that's where, having alerts that go straight to your phone that can be pushed are even better. Along those lines, talking Severe Weather Preparedness Week, normally on Wednesday during that week, the National Weather Service will plan to do their practice tornado drill, if you will. That has been postponed until Friday because there is actually a severe weather threat for Wednesday. It's happened in years past.
Ironic,
Yeah, kind of ironic, right? But that's going to be the case here. So that'll get postponed until Friday. So any weather alerts you get tomorrow will likely be the real thing. It's not going to be just a practice run from the Weather Service.
Okay, we'll have more details on everything that is happening. Any other school schedule changes we'll have. Gabe is in, Eric is in tonight, starting on WECT News at 5. Play it out. Safe to say, tomorrow's going to be a gusty day.
Yeah.
A lot of winds. Let's hope we get some rain because we really do need it for the drought situation and the wildfire situation. But starting in the morning tomorrow through the mid-afternoon into late afternoon, impact somewhere across southeastern North Carolina.
Yeah, and along those lines, because we are talking, concerns with wildfire and everything. We will be at an advantage to where the relative humidity is going to come up a little bit, so that won't make conditions maybe as conducive as the last couple of days. But folks, just a reminder, even now in this pre-storm time, fire, absolutely not. We don't want anything new to spark up and then have to deal with all of that. You think it doesn't happen to you, but sure enough, we have seen it. We've seen it happen. So fire, an absolute no.
Tomorrow's gusty winds could carry those embers and anything else like that a lot further than they might on a regular day. For Gabe Ross, I'm John Evans in the WECT News Digital Studio. We'll see you starting on WECT News at 5. Download that weather app, and we'll see you also on WECT.com.